Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. I'm Matt Sassuti. That's Rob, the Broken One Povia. And behind the boards, Brian, the Darkwing Daily.
I think I should come up with a new nickname for myself.
What?
Technically challenged.
All right, do you want to go technically challenged or technically inept?
Either or works.
Either or, all right. It's all right, though. It happens all the time. Doesn't matter. Nah, I'm joking.
I'm used to the 1, 2, 3, not the 2, 3, 4.
You're all right. You're all right, man.
Things are pretty seamless here.
Yeah, it's always seamless. Are you kidding? That was on purpose. We're doing it for comedic effect. That's the reason why it happened. Anyway, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another edition here on the Hockey Happy Hour. And we are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. You give them a call at, well, you can't give Mount Ephraim a call, but you can give the BMW of Atlantic City Studios or BMW of Atlantic City a call. We're brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You give them a call at www.scanzanosports.com. Now that I stumbled through that, let's get ready to get into the show.
Let's all take it. Oh, I can't.
Is Rob okay?
Keep talking, Rob.
Test.
I think Rob's all right. Is he okay?
I think so.
Should be able to hear him. Try the other mic.
Try it again.
I think we all need to take a collective breath.
There you
Not
go.
the best start to one of our shows.
No, definitely not the best start. But
It's
you know,
not
it's
how
all
you
right.
start, it's how you finish. Just
Yes,
ask
it
all
is.
my ex-girlfriends.
All right, so now that we got all that out of the way, that's done.
Well,
That's done. Let's move forward here. On
Just going to stay over here today.
to our main topic of today, and the main topic of today is the free agency of the NHL. Ladies and gentlemen, the NHL has been going on for a little while now in its off season, and there's been a few notable players that are currently not still signed to a roster. And the funny part is that you would think that they would be. You really would think that.
Well, I mean, sometimes there's cap restrictions coming into the year that could leave some guys that are looking for too high of a pay grade, or payday, I should say. And also, too, looking through a list of, notable free agents, a lot of them either pushing 40 or are 40. So I think age is a factor here in a lot of the reasons why some of these guys have not been signed yet.
Yeah, that is a possibility on that one. I mean, when you do look down the list here, there are some notable ages that are pretty hefty. I mean, you got 40, 30, 38. Not exactly, young bucks, except for maybe 30. That's a little surprising right there. And I think that's the only thing that I would say is a little bit of those, what's going on with him not being signed. But you know what? It is what it is. Some teams choose not to take a chance. Some teams do choose to take a chance. Personally, for me, I don't think that's a chance if, somebody's 30 years old. And that 30-year-old player is Cody Franson, who's defensive player, and he's had very good stats. He's played very solidly on every team he's been on. So that's the only one that shocks me that's on this list because he's only 30 years old. That's not old, when you think about it.
That's right.
You're midway through your career. That's not old.
Please, God, please let it not be old, because then I'm ancient. Put me out the pasture.
I'm glad you said it.
Hey, you mind your business over there. Technically challenged daily.
Okay. I'm just going to stay over here.
You coined it. Hey.
All right, gentlemen. You are both ancient. Now we move on.
Ouch.
So.
Screw you, buck of youth.
All right. So besides Cody Franson, other particular names that have been put up on the list are guys like Jaromir Jagr, who, of course, has been a legendary player for his entire career for the most part, has yet to get his name on the Stanley Cup. But at 40 years of age, he is currently not on an NHL franchise. Shane Doan, another one who's been around for a while, he, too, is currently not on an NHL franchise. Both of them at 40 years old. They're both sharing that age. Brian Gianna, 38 years old, not on a team. And, of course, the one that we will be talking about the most is the ageless one himself, the mullet man, Jaromir Jagr, 45 years old, still currently not on an NHL roster. But before we get into Jaromir Jagr, what do you think is up with guys like, Jerome McGinley, Shane Doan, Cody Franson, and Brian Gianna, why they currently aren't signed to NHL franchises?
Well, it's like I said before, age is a factor. These are guys that are all in the twilight of their career. Certainly Shane Doan and Jerome McGinley. Can Igilna still put the biscuit in the basket? Sure. Can he still help a team? Sure. But the later you wait in camp, the more these players are going to willing to sign anything just to play. It's business.
I think a huge part of it, and it's not necessarily age, it's not necessarily productivity, it's asking price. Jerome McGinley's asking price is probably too high. Jagr, we said last week he was looking for what, $5 million a year?
5 or 5.5, one of the two.
Either way, point here is who's going to pay that much money for a 40-year-old, 45-year-old player? The productivity's still there, but I don't know.
Here's the weird part, though, is that, when you look at the payment side of it, though, cap-wise for certain teams, that's really not a big problem, for certain teams. Certain teams will look at that as like, 5.5, I could easily sign him to that. That's, not a big deal. Take, for instance, the Arizona Coyotes. Coyotes were under the cap for the longest time, and they got cap room now. Mm-hmm. They could easily just say, we can give 5.5 to Jagr. And I'm only saying that just out of that reason. They could do the same thing with Jerome McGinley. They could do the same thing with Shane Doan. Although I don't think Shane Doan wants to come back to the Arizona Coyotes, I don't think.
Once you get out,
you
never want to go back to the desert, right?
No, I don't think he's planning on going back anytime soon.
They pull me back in.
Well, here's the thing, and I get what you're saying, but there's a lot of people out there that don't want to pay that much for a guy that's that age. For 1 year, 5.5 for a 45-year-old player who's, I get Jagr says he wants to play till he's 50, but there's players out there that hit that age that they're not sure how long they're going to play. Iginla, let's say he signs a contract for $5 million back with LA, just for instance. What's this? Who's to say he's not going to retire after 2 months, 3 months? Is it really worth the risk?
I hear what you're saying, because perfect example was Peter Forsberg. Peter Forsberg left after his ankle problems. He left Nashville that he got traded to, went back to Sweden, played out there, played for his home club of Modo, came back and played a couple games with the Colorado Avalanche and realized he can't. He didn't have the same speed. He didn't have the same ability that the younger players had in Colorado, and he was just going to be a detriment if he had stayed. So he decided to call it a quits and call it a career. I hear what you're saying on that side of it, because that could happen at any moment. But at the same token, though, if you have enough cap room and your team's good enough that, you can make the playoffs, or if your team really wasn't going to make the playoffs, you're just progressing, and you just want some veteran leadership to kind of coach the young boys, what's the worst that could happen? If they do retire, it's just like, well, I really only brought him here because I want him to help elevate the play of my younger players. Well, that's okay. He was only going to be a 1-year rental to begin with. So he's gone. I'll just go find somebody else. It's not like you can't go out there and find another veteran, to coach along your young guys. To me, that doesn't seem like a huge risk. In my eyes, that if you're doing that sort of we're rebuilding progress style. If you're in a playoff spot, maybe you consider this later on in the year, like trade deadline time. Say, you know what, maybe we do go off to the free agency and sign one of these guys. Maybe if, say, for instance, say Winnipeg's competing for a wild card spot and they feel like they need a little bit more offensive punch, and they go say, you know what, we'll go get Jaromir Jagr. We'll go get Jaromir Jagr, and we'll bring him onto the team. Don't care what we got to pay him. He's only going to be here for this half of the season into the playoffs.
That definitely could work. I definitely see where you're coming from here. But just for these guys, a lot of GMs are, you're either in rebuild mode or you're in, okay, we're going to go contend.
Yeah, of course.
In a rebuild mode, I don't see these guys absolutely going after a guy like Iginla, like a team like Arizona, the Flyers, anybody that's rebuilding, retooling.
Right.
I see Iginla being one of those guys who's going to get signed to a professional tryout, to be, if I could be completely honest with you. Because, like Jagr, his asking price is probably too high, which is the only reason why these guys are still available.
Oh, it is too high. I'll get to that in a sec.
These guys are clearly still productive, and that's something I'm not taking away. Antonio Altamare, brings up a very good point on Facebook Live, commenting he had 50-plus points. He needs to lower his price, though. I agree. Still productive. 50-plus points is a huge, respectable number for a 45-year-old player. His price needs to come down, and I think he'll sign somewhere. Somebody will sign him.
Absolutely. And that's great. I mean, feeding off that comment that I was checking out as well on Facebook Live, coming to you, Hockey Happy Hour. And it's in response, a lot of these comments are going to be in response to, we're asking if Jaromir Jagr should call it a career. And we'll get to that argument in just a second. But focusing on the asking price, let's look at the past few seasons here, fellas. And Jagr really hasn't exactly come cheap. Over his past 4 contracts he signed with the Devils and Panthers, we'll look at 2012-13 was 1 year, $4 million. 13-14 was 1 year, $5.5 million. 15-16 was 1 year, $5.405 million. And last season was 1 year, $5.515 million. What do you notice about that? Increasing for the most part, right? He's now 45, as we said, and he's still expecting at least a 1-year contract in the $5 million to $5.5 million range. That's no small chunk of change for an NHL team, particularly when they're operating under a $75 million hard cap.
No, you're right on that one. It's just, you are right about the asking price, though, with Jagr. Jagr is asking for a pretty good amount of money. However, when you think about it from a team's perspective, is it really? Yeah, I get it. There's a salary cap. But really, if you're smart enough with your cap and you know that, okay, we got just enough wiggle room, we could make this work, and it's 1 year, and if it doesn't work out, we could say whatever. It doesn't seem like a risk, especially if you're a contending team. If they're not necessarily 100% needed on your team to make a legitimate run, and they're just there to add a little bit more depth, really, is it much of a risk? At least not in my eyes, it isn't. If you got the room and you're a contender or you're one of the better teams in your conference or in your division and you got a shot at a playoff spot and a shot to make a run, what's the worst? You add on a veteran presence? Take a for instance like Calgary. What's the worst? You add on a veteran presence to offensive scoring, to add with young scoring? That's not really the worst thing in the whole world. It's not really even that big of a risk because they wouldn't be up against the cap in the first place. It would just be like, he's here for 1 year. We'll see what happens. That's what the Florida Panthers did for the longest time. They just rode him and said, okay, we'll just sign him back for another year, because they had all the young talent. They had the room. So it wasn't really like their cap was hitting ceiling. So, of course, they had their own problems eventually surfaced, but still.
I think you touch upon something here, Maddie. Let me jump in. A lot of the teams that are potential suitors, and we're going to break that down on today's show as well, don't have the cap space for a $5 to $5.5 million. Where he's the best fit doesn't work out financially or logistically.
That is possible. That is a possibility right there if certain teams are up against the cap. But, with all that being said, though, the idea, though, of signing a guy like Jagr, signing a guy like Iginla, signing a guy like Doan, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the whole world.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Greg Vlahovic chimes in. That flow can never retire. Goat.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's talking about the flow of the mullet. Let's see here. Donna Rhodey chimes in on Facebook Live. No, not at all. So, a lot of people are still clamoring. Tommy saying no, never retire. And he may not ever retire. He might play past Gordie Howe's age when he was playing. Because he can help a lot of teams. He's still got the skill set. Are they diminished from his early years? Of course they are, right? But speed specifically. But in terms of endurance, stamina, he can compete with kids that are in their mid-20s, 30s. He has an excellent workout regimen that I think would put the Rocks to shame, believe it or not.
I believe that. And Jagr specifically is, like I said, he's still a very productive player. He wants to play until he's 50. If he wants to play, I say let him play. There's going to be no reason for this guy not to find a contract somewhere. It might take a little bit longer, and he might not be getting paid when he wants to get paid, but there's going to be a suitor.
He could still contribute to an NHL team. There's no doubt about
Exactly.
it. I mean, even with the 20-point drop-off in production last season, Jagr still put up respectable 16 goals and 30 assists with the Panthers. I mean, I'll take that as a third-line winger.
Adam Pollack on Facebook Live comments, and he said exactly what you just said. Jagr should take a slight pay cut, but have you seen him work out? He will put young kids to shame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing, though, since we can round this up before we get full force into Jagr, since that talk it's just clamoring. We have to get to it.
Yes.
We can't contain it. We'll get started with, are they going to get signed? Or are they not going to get signed? So in this way, we get to dive into your bag of tricks. Either they're going to be deemed obsolete, or they may find themselves
Wonderful. Yes.
or they may find themselves reincarnated into another franchise. So let's get started.
Not Matt Hardy V2.
Version 2?
Yes.
Instead of version 1? Okay.
Yes.
On to Shane Doan. Does he get signed?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
so. He's too good on the face-offs not to.
He's a great leader. He can come into a playoff contender and really help out a club.
All right. Any thoughts on who you think might sign him?
I still think it's going to be the Rangers.
Okay.
I like that suitor, for Shane Doan, but I see that team trying to get younger. And there's been talk, Jagr possibly returning to the Rangers, Shane Doan. Do they overlook the age just because he fits really well?
I think they do, and I think that Shane Doan's asking price is going to come down before Jagr's does.
Sure.
Because Shane Doan still wants to play, and he shows he can still play. I think that's something that the Rangers are missing is an addition of a leader without having that assistant A or that captaincy. And I think the pressure in the Big Apple could really help Shane Doan.
Yeah. And, I mean, also, too, they were trying to get younger on their blue line. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that same philosophy will apply towards their forwards. So
I mean, I don't think so either. I mean, they did just trade away Derek Stepan, who was one of their younger forwards. I mean, maybe that's just and I realized that they wound up signing Shattenkirk after, but maybe it's just more wiggle room to do more.
sure.
I mean, Anaheim Ducks are still doing stuff. Well, sort of. But then again, the guy they just signed, and we'll get into that later, he wasn't looking for $4 or $5 million for a 1-year contract.
Right.
So
True. Very, very true.
Two quick guys I want to cover that are notable players that aren't signed, and I'm surprised because they could help out a lot of clubs right now, is Drew Stafford and Thomas Vanek. How are they without a contract right now, and will they have one?
That's a tough one. I mean, Thomas Vanek, he could easily be thrown in as a veteran presence on your team. He could still score.
Yeah,
He's shown that.
It's only 33.
Yeah, so
not
he's
talking
not
about an old guy.
Yeah, and same thing with Stafford. I mean,
31.
Stafford's another guy who's a big guy. He can throw around the body. He doesn't do it illegally either, so it's not really like he's going to be a hindrance to you.
Does that sound like a tantalizing option, Philadelphia? I think he would fit in famously. Delightfully, they might say.
Question is if we could afford him. That's the real
Yeah,
question.
probably
See,
not.
that's the problem with us. We are so handcuffed with the salary cap. It's not funny. Whereas other teams, they kind of have the freedom to sign whomever the hell they want. It doesn't matter to them at all. But
Well, it's saying here that he's likely to take a pay cut from his last contract, which paid him an average of $4.35 million per season. Flyers might be able to afford 2.5. You think he'd willing to cut it in half as camp, nears?
if possibly, it depends though, because I think again it also depends on where the GM Ron Hextall's head's at. Really, at the end of the day, and he's really kind of making it a point of youth, and that's kind of what Hexy's been on for the better part of 2 years now.
Sure.
So Is it possible? Yeah. Will it happen though? I don't think so. I think Hexie wouldn't do it.
David Roska chimes in on a good planning place for Shane Doan. I'll give you one guess. It's Anaheim Ducks.
You've been talking about that for a while now.
And I agree with him. I think he could. I mean, you're the Ducks fan. I don't want to step on your toes, but couldn't they afford a guy that is great on faceoffs?
They could, but we already have a good handful. I mean,
Yeah.
we have Ryan Getzlaf on the first line. Antoine Vermette's going to be on the second line until Kessler comes back.
Mm-hmm.
An opportunity for Sam Steele is knocking at the door after his 100 and some odd point OHL season last year.
Well, yeah, but maybe you can use him as a secondary option just in case, it doesn't pan out yet for the prospect.
I mean,
Just because he had a 100-point season in the OHL doesn't mean that's going to transition immediately.
no, not at all. And I'm not saying because Konechny was that player who had 100 points in the juniors and came up to the NHL. It took him a little bit to transition the game, but
took him about a year.
He transitioned well. But as far as the team as a whole goes, we're kind of close to that cap because we just signed guys like Ricard Raquel to a $60-some million contract.
Silverberg
Still needs to get back on their contract. Who else did they just sign? Hampus Lindholm. Cam Fowler just got an $80 million contract over 8 years. So,
Jeez, they're just giving the money away. Maybe they don't have the cap room, it sounds like.
In Cam Fowler's defense, though, he deserves it.
He deserves every penny. He's the best defenseman we got.
Inversely, too, man, did you say that you found David Roscoe on Facebook?
Yes.
You did, right?
Actually, he found me.
Feel free to private message him my number if he wants to jump online and be part of the show. I'll have him on my phone. But I just don't want to broadcast my number on air.
Nah, I don't blame you.
That's not a bad idea.
I got too many, nah, I'm not even going to go
Nah.
All right, so we're going to steer away from the personal and return back to the professional. Shane Doan, one of the few options that are still out there for NHL teams if they want to take a chance on a 40-year-old vet who still has face-off ability and still has the ability to play the game at a high level. Definitely not a bad person to look into. Next up, Cody Franson. Now, this is the youngest player on here at 30. Do you see him getting signed before this is all said and done?
Say again?
Cody Franson.
I don't, man. I think he might have to wait until in season and like a team's need due to injury. I've never been a huge fan of Cody Franson.
Where's he coming? He's coming from Buffalo, right?
Correct.
That's where his last contract was?
I believe so.
I want to say maybe he winds up going back to Buffalo.
I mean, it's possible. But then again, he may wind up joining up with a team, out of nowhere before the season even begins. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a last-minute signing by somebody.
That wouldn't surprise me either, and that's kind of where my mind frame is seeing Cody Franson get swooped back up by Buffalo the last minute, a couple weeks before camp starts.
Especially if things aren't looking as promising on the line as they'd like. So, but
absolutely. David Grant on Facebook goes to the question, should Jagr call it a career? He goes, no, the Pen should pick him up for a 1-year deal. I think we'll revisit that in a little bit in terms of a landing spot, ending it where he began it. Not a bad point.
It's not a bad idea, but there's a couple of things that I want to bring up when we get to that. So, but anyway, we'll get
tease.
Yeah, tease on that one. On to our next one, and that is former New Jersey Devil that I hate, Brian Gianna, at number 38 on his age. He's another guy who still has pretty decent productivity, but I don't see him getting signed. I don't see Brian Gianna getting signed by anybody, really. I mean, I don't see that because he's not really been the hot pick as of late. Getting into near 40, he's kind of tipping off a little bit faster than some of the other ones are. So I really don't see that happening.
I could possibly see a return to New Jersey for 1 year just to finish out his career.
Possibly.
could do that. There's a lot of talk too about him operating on an international level for a U.S. team. Now that could be a good fit either playing wise or the point I'm getting at is working in the coaching.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, you have your one last hurrah. You played for the U.S. Olympic team because the NHL pros are not playing in the next one. So
yeah, exactly.
So
It opens opportunity for guys that are outside the league. Some of those that have left for the KHL. Of course, maybe they'll be representing Russia, but still, my point is that, international play for this Olympics will offer more of an avenue for these guys that are out of the league or chose to leave the league as well.
That is true. That is very, very true. All right, and now our final one on the list is Mr. Jaromir Jagr. Do we see him going to a team before the offseason is all said and done?
Absolutely. And, as I was saying a little bit earlier, he's still productive. He's another one. He just needs to drop his asking price, and he'd find a suitor. I mean, he still played really well in L.A. He played well in Boston. He's played well in Pittsburgh. He played well. He played fairly well in Colorado in the bottom six. He's too talented of a player to not be signed somewhere this late in the offseason.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, actually, a pretty good amount of these players. Shane Doan is shockingly should be signed, and Jaromir Jagr really too. I mean, overall, it's just surprising. But again, age is a factor, and that's really pretty much what most of these GMs are thinking of when they look at these players. They're not looking at the productivity. They're looking at the good old number of their age. That's the big problem.
Just real quick, man, I got Frank Vespi chiming in on Facebook. Jagr and his sexy-ass mullet needs to be on a team. He also goes on to say, Iginla needs a cup before he calls it a career, and that comment I couldn't agree any more with.
He does deserve a cup. The sad part is just he's had the worst luck, between being on the Flames for the longest time, and then the one time they lost to the Lightning, and then he never went back. He was on Pittsburgh. They got eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals by Boston. He wound up on Boston. They never made it back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
That was the very next year.
Yep. And then he wound up on Colorado. And Colorado, after making their one playoff appearance with Patrick Waugh as coach, they fired him, and the team went downhill right after that. So talk about the worst luck in the whole world for the poor guy. And the LA Kings just had a very bad year altogether. So
the third point that Frank made, I forgot about that. How about Doan to the Jets? Because that is where he started. It was before they moved to Arizona. He was a Winnipeg Jet.
Yeah, true. An original Winnipeg Jet turning to the new Winnipeg Jets. That would be an interesting place. It would come full circle for him.
Well, I mean, technically it's not full circle. I mean, I get the point that Frank is absolutely trying to make. Different organization, though. But I get what he's getting at. You just start in Winnipeg and in Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. But either way, we will see what happens with Shane Doan, Jaromir Jagr, Cody France, and Brian Gianna as we move forward towards the beginning of the training camps and the preseasons that are really just right around the corner. That's the best part of it. August is almost over. And the best part about the summer almost being over is hockey is getting ready to start.
Oh, football too.
Well, yeah, but I don't care about football.
I know.
So
I know you don't. That's why I said it.
Yeah. You know that meme where you just see SpongeBob sitting on the couch with his remote, just waiting until hockey season starts? That's me, basically, in a nutshell.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. While everybody else is worrying about the NFL. Anyway, when we get back on the other side, it's time to dive into the Mullet Man himself, Jaromir Jagr, and we will go through all 31 NHL franchises. And yes, I did say that right, 31 NHL franchises, and see which team will be lucky enough to land Jaromir Jagr for a year. That is on the other side. But first, let me tell you about Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants. They are located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call, 215-369-3300. Hey, tax season was here, but it always comes back around. So be ready, be prepared, get Gibson Mayer. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com, and we will be right back after this. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2DRadio.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And all this is being brought to you by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike, England, or New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com. All right.
Overwhelming support for Yogs all over the board, all in our groups here. You know, I share them all in hockey groups nationwide. People are just like, no, it's not time for Yogs to call it a career. I agree. I mean, as long as the guy can produce, help support him, solidify his spot in the greatest of all time.
It's true.
Will he, catch up to Gretzky in points? No.
No, I don't think anybody will ever catch up to Gretzky in points. They would have to be scoring 1,000 points per season.
But
serious.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he does have a legitimate shot at Hal, though, no?
I think he does.
Yeah, he does actually. He's been chalking up the scores, and he is the third overall. If I stand correct, Gordy I think is 2. So yes, he's third overall, I believe, in goal scoring. So that's just goal scoring alone, and I believe points wise, he's in the top 5 in the points too. But either way, Jaromir Jagr, the man, the myth, the legend, the ancient one himself, who never dies, the ageless wonder, the mullet man. You can call him whatever you want. Either way, he's still got the moves, he's still got the ability, he's still got the production. So the question is, will Jaromir Jagr return to the NHL? And if he does, what team would most likely scoop him up? And what team will apply for his services for a year? Why don't we get into that right now, gentlemen? So let's get started. Let's go to the West. Now, Jagr has been on Western Conference teams. He's only really been on one Western Conference team, and that one he was on was the Dallas Stars.
That's right, yep.
And then he left midway through the year and went to Boston, but that's a different story for a different time. So let's get started with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Will this expansion team take a chance and bring in Jaromir Jagr in their inaugural year?
At first, I was like, absolutely not. It just doesn't fit, the schematics of an expansion team. But does it? It actually might. If you're looking to really build up a fan base, an attraction like Jaromir Jagr does kind of make a lot of sense. Will they have enough money? I mean, I think so. I think so because, they certainly made some moves already to equivalate their salary cap. And, when you talk about Vegas, man, doesn't, money grow on palm trees out there?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so, it's a possibility. I don't see it happening, but, it's a strong possibility you bring up.
They are projected to have $5.6 million in cap space,
which would pretty much be Jagr's asking price.
Pretty much. So if they decide that they want to go after a guy like Jagr, they're going to put him right at that line.
To me, though, it's not a bad idea, though, when you think about it. It's like you were saying, Rob, as an inaugural year, it's brilliant.
Right.
Think about it. What better way to sell merchandise than to say, we're the Vegas Golden Knights, and guess who we have? We have the one and only Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah.
He's right here. Buy his jerseys for way too much money. Seriously.
First of all, can I just say, jersey prices are ridiculous nowadays.
That's what I mean by that. They are ridiculous. Let's be honest here. The NHL wants you to buy products, but the jerseys cost almost $200. Why is a jersey costing $200? I understand that it takes time to make it. They are a much bigger jersey than most other jerseys are. They're a sweater as compared to football jerseys and basketball tank tops and baseball jerseys. But still, come on now. If anything, baseball jerseys, I think, are more intricately designed than anything else. Because of the stitching and everything like that.
Yeah, certainly, right?
But, you're right, though. Jersey prices do need to come down. We need to start a petition on that. Jersey prices need to be brought down. Please, let's start doing that. Anyway, so, besides us agreeing all around the board on that one, Do I think the Vegas Golden Knights will get Jagr? As brilliant as it sounds as for a marketing ploy, I don't think so. I think the Golden Knights are really focusing on just being young and stockpiling picks, you know? So
And they are doing that in 2019 alone. In the first 3 rounds, they have 7 picks. 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 3 in the third.
wow.
So it's looking like they want to build a franchise from within, which is not a bad thing at all. They also have a lot of players that have high contracts. Guys like David Clarkson, who's probably never going to play again, with a hit of 5.25. James Neal, $5 million hit. Mikhail Grabovski, $5 million hit. Most of the guys that they have signed under contract are for 1-year deals. And I'm that person that's going to think, well, why not one more? But at the same time, you got to leave yourself a little bit of leeway in the cap for maybe trade deadline, trade here and there, maybe in November, December. But they still need that. They need to leave a little bit of space. And if they sign Jagr, they're not going to have that space.
Right.
I got you on that one. I mean, though, for 1 year, I don't think it would kill him, to be honest with you. I don't think it would kill him too much.
No, I don't think it's going to kill him at all, to be honest with you. I think it'll be more beneficial from a marketing standpoint, but I don't think that's the way they're going to go.
All right. Well, either way, the Vegas Golden Knights chalked that one off the list. Next up, the Vancouver Canucks. Now, obviously, the Canucks are just starting to get themselves back together after having miserable year after miserable year. They've got youth that they are trying to bring up and prosper there. And do you see them in rebuild mode getting Jagr to try and help the youth carry forward into future seasons?
You see, here's the thing. I think this team makes a little bit of sense for Jagr to go to. He might have to take a little bit of a pay cut to go there. Well, they have $7 million left in cap space. I think this roster would make sense because they are a potential playoff contender. I think with the moves that they made in the offseason, they are definitely on the bubble. I think adding Jagr could put them over the top there.
I could see that point. I could definitely see that point. And, I mean, certainly having the space would help. And he could definitely maybe help them take the next step up. For me, though, it may make sense for the Canucks. Doesn't make much sense for Jagr, though, because – we joke around that he could play forever, but how many more years does he have left? I would assume, and I think this is a safe assumption, that his pursuit is to have his name donned on the Stanley Cup one more time. You going to get that in Vancouver?
No. I think that's safe to say. But here's the thing, though. It would be the worst thing in the world, though, for the Vancouver Canucks, to have a veteran presence like Jagr. But you are right, though, with Jagr being at the age he is and wanting to get his name on the cup. It would make sense, for him not to be on Vancouver.
I was just envisioning a line of the Sedin twins with Jagr.
Oh,
is that possible?
It is possible,
it
but
is possible.
here's the ultimate question. I don't think we're really asking ourselves here. Does he want a cup or does he just want to play?
That is a very big question. Well, the funny part is he's never really made that clear either.
No, I think he's from everything that I'm gaining in the teams that he's been to lately in the last few years, I think he just wants to play. I don't think he's worried about winning. His name's already on the cup.
Twice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know what? You do bring up a good point. With Florida, there's definitely no guarantee you get your name on the cup, albeit Florida isn't a bad team. But Florida hasn't won a playoff series since 1996. So it's been a while, to say the least. So when you think about that statistically, yeah, the odds are not stacked in your favor there. But then again, at first, when he was with Boston and he was with, Philly and he was with other teams, you were thinking maybe he is trying to
even
get
Dallas, too.
Yeah, even
Dallas was a pretty good team. He was pretty much signed as a rental to make that Stanley Cup push.
Yeah, I mean, at first it seemed like he really was trying to shoot for that cup. I mean, I can see what you're saying, though, now in recent years. With the Devils were going downhill at that time. They did show promise in 2012 when they went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals only to lose.
I know what it is. He went to Florida for South Beach and the ladies.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on
what it
now.
was, yeah.
Come on, that's the motivation. So whatever city has the hottest women, there's Jagr's landing spot. Boom.
Well, here's a debate.
Right?
Well, let's think about it here. The San Jose Sharks, they're next. And think about this in WWE terms. Bailey comes from San Jose, so I guess we can count that one out.
Oh, come on. The body's nice.
All right, yeah.
That's
but
why God invented brown paper bags. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I said it.
You put the WWE copyright logo on it, too, so that so they know who owns it.
Yes.
Oh,
I own the JEFFHARDY. You owe me $5,000.
Oh man! Every time she sees herself in the mirror, she has to pay you. Anyway,
I'll take sexual favors for payment. That's fine.
so all right then.
All right, let me stop. Go
As
on.
long as
San
I-
Jose Sharks.
As long as you get the paycheck, right? That's all that matters, right?
That's right.
All right, San Jose Sharks. So the San Jose Sharks possibly getting Jaromir Jagr, I don't really see that happening. The Sharks already have their veterans. I don't really see them biting down on another vet at this point in time.
Maybe, though. I mean, if they're like one player away, you know, and you can get Jagr to contribute 50 to 60 points on that team, they're in a point where they got to win soon or they got to blow it up.
True.
So getting a player like Jagr might make sense there, just to play devil's advocate.
They may not have to wait that long. They got 5 forwards that are going to be free agents after this year.
Right.
So they might not have to wait that long. They have the cap space to do it. They got $8 million left before training camp starts. So they could. I mean, I could definitely see it. They definitely need the help. Aside from Joe Thornton, Logan Couture, and Joe Pavelski, I mean, you can even throw Joel Ward into this mix here. There wasn't much production from the bottom 6 at all. So bringing in a guy like Jagr, maybe throw him down on the third line, could really help that production on the third line for San Jose. I could see this one working out.
Power play, too.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be a nice power play. Ooh.
Thornton Couture or even Thornton, Pavelski, and Jagr on the first power play. I could see that working out very well.
But here's the thing, though. This would probably, if they were going to do it, this might not be a before season starting signing. This might be trade deadline signing, where they may put that offer out there, because San Jose will most likely make the playoffs again. But they might be saying, you know what, let's hold off on a second and let's see where we're at before we take a leap of faith and go with Jagr.
Well, any teams that take that philosophy of like, oh, maybe we'll wait to the trade deadline, might be snoozing, might be sleeping on Jaromir Jagr, because a report here from the NHL says that Jagr's considering return to the Czech Republic if this NHL job search fails. So he might be gone playing internationally. I mean, can he be pulled back in? Sure, but depends on what contract he needs to sign there, too, to play.
Little tidbit for you guys. The roster size for the San Jose Sharks is 19 players out of 23. So they got the space.
They got the space.
And they got the cap space. So, I mean, San Jose could actually be a logical spot for Jagr to land if he wants to go play in Southern California.
Northern California.
Is it Northern California?
Northern. It's Bay Area.
Is it?
Yeah, San Jose, San Francisco. They're in that area.
I didn't know San Jose was that.
Yeah,
really?
they're pretty close. It's all right, though. Happens.
Yeah, just read this real quick, this quote from Jagr. You know, he was asked, like, you know, what's his plans if no suitors come calling come opening day. Now, this is what he said as of for opening day, that he'd be interested in returning to the Czech Republic and to a team called Kladno, a hockey club that Jagr owns.
Yeah, he owns that one. That's his hometown club.
Right. And he goes, the most serious negotiations I have are with Kladno, because Kladno has a smart owner who knows what he wants. Talking about himself there. I like that. I just got that. No, really, I don't have a clue. I leave it all on my agent. And his agent's Peter Svoboda, by the way. Interesting.
Yeah.
Another former NHL player.
And a former Flyer.
Yeah. There's a couple NHL teams that showed interest, but nothing specific yet. So, you know, I think maybe he's saying this more in tongue-in-cheek, kind of to put some pressure on these guys. Like, look, I've done it before. You know, I've gone and played in the KHL. You know, it would be a shame, though, because it was a shame the first time. If he had stayed in the NHL right now, we might be talking about Gretzky level. Maybe. You know, adding up those points he put up with the KHL team he played for, you know, so it'd be a crime. He should really finish his career, and that's not just me being a North American hockey fan. I'm not saying that there's aren't great leagues in the world, but the league of leagues is the NHL. Let's face facts.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play with the best players, you're playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
You know.
I was thinking of San Diego.
San Diego.
I always get those two. I don't know why. I always think San Diego's up north and San Jose's down low. I don't know why. I do the same thing with San Francisco all the time, too. I always think San Francisco's Southern California.
Geography's not my bag, baby.
No, geography in California is not my bag.
Oh, that's right.
Everywhere else doesn't.
Everywhere else,
Yeah.
I'm just
Solid.
I was just speaking personally. Yeah.
All right, so San Jose, possibility right there. What about the Los Angeles Kings? Now, there's been debate they might re-sign Jerome McGinley, but what if they decide to change gears and go with Jagr?
I mean, they're pretty tight on the cap. Roster size, they could fit a couple more guys, but it'd have to be cheap. I don't know if he's really willing to take a pay cut. I mean, if we're looking at the roster here, on paper, LA is a cup contender.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it all depends on what Jagr wants to do. Does he just want to play until he's 50? Does he want to win? Does he want to put his name on the cup one more time? We don't really know. He knows that for sure. I could definitely, if he takes the pay cut, I could see LA working out.
I could and I couldn't. I mean, if they were smart, they'd go nowhere near Jagr. They're already slow. They're a slow team. They're slower than the Flyers were a year ago, and that's saying a lot. You know, some say that they're the NHL's biggest, slowest team, and really that style, as we know here in Philadelphia, has really come and gone. But, and there's a big but, you know, the new GM out there, Rob Blake, doesn't exactly fit his model, but he's also been linked to chasing down players like Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. Now, if you're chasing down guys like that and you don't get them, well, Jagr's of that same ilk. I mean, even cut from a finer cloth.
I think he's cut from a way finer cloth, and to bring him into L.A., put him on a line with, let's see, we're looking at the roster here, maybe do Mike Camilleri on the left, maybe a Trevor Lewis at center, and Jagr on the right, third line. Maybe it could be a pretty productive third line.
Truth.
Might be the best line they have, if you think about it. I'm not saying it would be, but it could very easily be. And the only reason why I say that is because Jagr elevates games. He really honestly does.
No, he does. I'm not taking that away from him at all. But any line that you have Anze Kopitar on is a damn good line.
That is true.
Say he made, NHL Network's top 20 center iceman.
He didn't even make my top 20.
Me neither.
I didn't even think about him until I'm like, oh,
I was about to say for what that's worth, because their list was pretty shitty in my opinion.
Well,
it was.
Not only that, too. I mean, Los Angeles.
Austin Matthews fourth. Are you kidding me? Anyway. Don't get me started on that. That's a topic for another show.
But, I mean, the reason why you forget is because it's Los Angeles, and not that the glory days disappeared from them, but over the last couple of years, it's kind of like, they were hot for 2 years, and primarily Jonathan Quick was their major goal, too. Even though they had the offense to back it up, a lot of people seem to forget that Los Angeles kind of faded away a couple of years, and everyone's like, Los Angeles is old news. They're not going to be doing nothing.
Still got some great players, though.
They do. They still got some great players, so don't be surprised.
They'll be a playoff.
I see what you were doing there.
I think they'll be a playoff team next year, for sure.
They could be. I mean, as long as they're competitive in the wild card, which really shouldn't be as hard because in the West, usually there's like 2 or 3 or 4 teams competing for it, and all the other teams are so far behind. It's not funny. That's usually how that wild card race works. Moving on. The young and talented Edmonton Oilers. I probably don't see that happening. They just re-signed Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to pretty lengthy contracts and pretty hefty salaries on top of that.
Yeah. That's a no-go.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right.
Well, here's the plus. Connor McDavid's contract doesn't kick in until 2018, 2019, so they don't have to look at that $12.5 million until 2018, 2019.
So you just sign him for a 1-year deal, bam.
And I think that could be something that they're missing is that one extra body, but they got the cap space to do it for this year, but they don't have the roster space.
No,
So
that would be the
they're actually
problem.
one over.
So that would be the problem. It would be, would Jagr be able to be on the team or not? That's the major issue right there. And you don't sign Jagr to $5.5 million just to scratch him. Like, you do not do that. That's not only disrespectful, but that's clearly a sign of lack of knowing what you're doing.
No, you don't sign Jagr to 5.5 and not playing, period, unless he's hurt.
Yeah, simple as that. That's another factor, I think, that a lot of people are thinking, what if he gets hurt? That's another thing that they come into play. Although he has not really been injury prone. That's one thing about Jagr that he's been very good with. He has never really been all that injury prone. He's been very, very good in that.
Because of his conditioning.
Yeah, very, very true. All right, moving on.
Broken condition.
Another young team that I was talking about earlier, the Calgary Flames. That's a team, in my opinion, that, it wouldn't hurt for them to look at a Jaromir Jagr. I think, personally, veteran presence might help the youth, I think, in a little bit ways.
From a pure hockey standpoint, he's a good fit in Calgary.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just seems like it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to become a Calgary Flame. If it's only for a year, what's the worst that happens? If a year goes by and you wind up getting bounced in the first round like you did this past year, what's the difference? Just like, well, it might have been the same if he wasn't here.
Now, remember, Philadelphia Flyers fans, the world of good he did for Claude Giroux and Scott Hart now, right? That top line with Johnny Hockey, Sean Monahan, needs a right winger. Man, to rear them in that image or whatever really could make the Calgary Flames really, how should I say, not just an up-and-coming team, but solidifying them as a strong, team in the Western Conference, to say it simply.
Possibly.
No, I'm with you. I mean, they could use a good first or second line, right? I mean, they have
Make
Michael
him a real
Frolik.
threat. That's the word I was trying to find. Sorry.
No, you're good. Michael Frolik is their best right winger at the moment. He's not a bad right winger to have, but the good thing is you can move him to center too if you need be, but they've got centers too.
Well, according to this article I'm reading here, they have him set with Tkachuk and Backlund. And I like that line for Lee, Tkachuk and Backlund. That's a nice line right there.
That is a nice line. It's probably their second line then.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Monahan, Johnny, and probably Troy Brower is their first line.
Right.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Right. But, I mean, Calgary's a dark horse, but it makes sense, though.
I think they're a dark horse, too. Sorry to cut you off, Maddie, but real quick. They got the cap space and the roster space to do it. So if they're going to do it, they're another team that could do it.
They also offered to try and get Alex Ovechkin. So, I mean, if they didn't work out with getting Alex Ovechkin, maybe you could just say, go with Jagr. It's not a bad alternative. We couldn't get Ovechkin, so, let's go with Jagr.
Not a bad alternative at all.
All right, and before we head to break, let's finish up these final two in the Pacific Division. And the Arizona Coyotes, this is another team that has cap space. They're young. They're kind of in the same spot as Edmonton and Calgary. The only difference is they're still in more of that rebuild mode. They're not completely there yet. They could be if they make the right moves and adjustments. Do you see them considering a Jaromir Jagr to kind of put them towards a wild card contention?
Oh, sure. I see them considering it, and I see Jagr telling them to go fuck themselves. He's not going to Phoenix.
No, he's got
Pardon me, Arizona, sorry.
It doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. No one cares.
Just the forwards alone, they have 2 players over the age of 30, and both of which are on the IR. Everyone else, 25 and under.
Wow.
They got a ton of cap space to do it. They got $19 million left in cap space.
That's right. Yeah, because they were trying to avoid the floor. That's right.
That's why they took on a couple of our old contracts. Thank you.
Yes.
One of the few good things you've ever done for us.
They still have 7 guys on the main roster that are still on their entry-level contract, so that's probably why. And then they have 1 defenseman. So that's still a lot of cap space.
Yeah, it is.
They're going to have to make a move at some point. What's the minimum supposed to be this year? It's supposed to be like 17 or something like that, isn't it?
Something like that. I believe that's the minimum. We'll have to double-check that before we make a conclusive say, yes, this is legitimate, because, we could be bullshitting. So, but before we go to break, we'll look that up in a little bit. Anaheim Ducks. No, just absolutely not.
It's not that absolutely not. I mean, I would love to have Jagr in Anaheim, but Spaces are already taken.
Let's face facts. All 31 teams would love to have a Jagr.
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
Make it happen? Do you have the space? More importantly, like you guys brought up before, do you have the roster space? Because you're not, like, to Maddie's point, you're not going to sign him for that money to have him be scratched.
Yeah.
Right, and if he goes to Anaheim, Anaheim's the one team I know for a fact that has all the spaces taken.
Right.
So, with that being said, that is the Pacific Division, debating on what team will most likely scoop up Jagr. And as a review here, the teams that actually could be a good fit would be Vancouver, San Jose, would be Edmonton, Calgary, and along with that, Arizona. But I don't think he's going to go to any one of those teams. So, out of the 5 teams in the Pacific Division, honestly, I don't really see him going to a Pacific Division team.
I don't see it either.
Don't see that happening. Either way, though, we will get more into this on the other side, and we will get to the Central Division next in the Western Conference, and then we will switch it to the East and get into that, debating this Jagr free agency scandal/crisis that is currently going on. But first, let's talk to you about Liberty Event Rentals. They're located at 2154 East Cambria Street in Philadelphia, PA. You give them a call, 267-314-7368. You can visit them on the web at www.libertyeventrentals.com. If you got any special events coming up, feel free to give Liberty Event Rentals a heads up. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2D Radio.com, and we will be right back right after this. A2D Radio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. no sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2D Radio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. And just saying, you do not need to adjust your laptop or computer screens. I am a real ginger. This is true. I know we're rare, but I am real.
And he will steal your soul.
Yes, I will, especially if you're a Penguins fan. But anyway, that's a different story. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. And we are brought to you by the BMW of Atlantic City. And if you want the ultimate driving experience, well, then you got to go to BMW of Atlantic City. They're minutes off of exit 37 of the Parkway. They're located at 6037 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. And you can give them a call at 609-568-9200. And they are online at www.bmwofatlanticcity.com.
Real quick, Maddie, before we get back to actually, this has to do with the same subject. So before getting back, just want to read this comment off really quickly. Allison B. Wallace chimes in. Seems like it's out of Jagr's hands at this point. Teams have had plenty of time to sign him, and I understand his agent made calls. I would have preferred a retirement season, sort of what Derek Jeter did his last season with the Yankees.
Yeah, that would actually be that would be the pleasant thing. But unfortunately in hockey, unless you've been playing on a team for a really long time, usually you just wind up falling out of the league at some point. Unless you're able to stay in the league, and that's the real issue. I mean, Dominik Hasek was playing in the Czech Republic, and he was trying to make an NHL comeback. That didn't work out. Yeah. So, I mean, he finished off his career in international leagues,
Truth be told.
I know Ilya Kovalchuk is planning on coming back, but what's to say he doesn't take his ball and go home again, and finishes his career in another league. Of course, that would be on purpose. So, it's a different story there. But it's, I think it just depends, because Jagr, if there was a city that would have had him back for a retirement year, it would be Pittsburgh, because that's the city he started in. Maybe New York, because, New York is more than favorable to allowing retirement years. Wayne Gretzky for one, Mark Messier for the other. So the Rangers have always been kind of known as, hey, we're the retirement team. You come and play with us when you're about to retire.
Well, hey, in Messier's case, I think it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Just a little bit. Gretzky, not so much. They kind of ran into a brick wall. So yeah. I have to keep bringing up good memories of the Flyers. So, because, not too many good ones in recent years. Anyway, moving on to the Central Division with Jaromir Jagr debating on what team could land him. And we go to the Winnipeg Jets. Now, this is a team that's very possible they could land the one and only Jaromir Jagr. As a matter of fact, actually could be beneficial for them to get Jaromir Jagr, it more so than just for offensive reasons, but for team morale reasons, because it seems like the Jets, no matter what they do, they miss the playoffs. Even though they don't have a bad team, they just can't figure out a way to get it going, no matter what they do.
I'm actually looking at this, and I don't know if it's going to be as possible as we thought. I mean, it's a move that would make sense for Winnipeg, but they have a full roster at 23, and they do have the cap space to move it. And I'm looking at the roster like, okay, well, maybe they send somebody down. I don't know if there's anybody that I would send down on this roster. Maybe one, and he's a centerman. So I'm thinking maybe Jagr to Winnipeg Well, one, I don't think it's going to happen now after looking at it, but maybe it's just something that doesn't really make sense for Winnipeg as I thought. So I'm going to rule them out.
All right. All right, Rob, what are you thinking?
No.
Nah. All right. So
I just don't think so in lieu of I still say he's trying to get a cup, one more cup before he retires, and you're not going to get that with Winnipeg.
True. I mean, and actually, oddly enough, Jagr has not played with a Canadian club. Not once.
That's right.
He's always played in American-based clubs. So maybe he doesn't want to go to a Canadian club. Maybe. I don't know. That's just a theory.
That's
But
racist.
No, that's Canadianist.
That's right.
There's a difference.
On his behalf, not you.
Yeah. I'm just the messenger. You don't shoot me.
You're the advocate?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
My name is Paul Heyman. No, it's not.
Paul Heyman, huh?
No.
Look just
No,
like him.
I'm not from New York. So, moving on
Next team.
to the St. Louis Blues. No.
No.
I think that's safe to say. No.
Agreed.
All right, so skip that one. Nashville.
Oddly enough, I kind of think that Nashville could be a team that swoops in and gets them.
Possible. I mean,
You lose
Not possible, more than possible.
your captain to retirement and Mike Fisher, and what now? What's your next step?
They also lose James Neal on his $5 million cap hit, as that now resides in Las Vegas.
But that cap hit also just went right to Ryan Johansson too. So Ryan Johansson's sitting at $8 million cap hit.
Yeah. Well, what's their cap looking like now in lieu of that?
I'll tell you 1 second. They're at $6 million. They got $6 million in space.
And I think that you sign Jagr for 4.5 of that, maybe push it to 5. That's exactly what the Predators need to stay, in contention to return to the Western Conference Finals, maybe even Stanley Cup Finals, because the Predators going to obviously have to replace that scoring that you're losing with James Neal and Mike Fisher. And I don't know. I just think with the extra, little extra cash to play around with, he fits their scheme. He fits their dynamic. That was my pick when we were talking during the break, is that I could see Jaromir Jagr going to Smashville, and then the Nashville Predators will become my new Western Conference team.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry, Brian. I said it just to anger you, purposefully, because I'm a dick like that.
That you are, my friend.
Okay.
No, just kidding. I mean, I think it would be a good fit. I think it would be a good fit.
It's not bad because of the considering fact you are right with the scoring depth being lost, and not only that, too, Mike Fisher leaving, and that's your captain, so your leadership is gone.
Right.
Jagr could very easily be kind of like that leader, and maybe in a lot of ways, in one season, with Jagr leading the way, is kind of like being that not pseudo-captain, quote-unquote.
Why not captain?
Only because if you offer him only 1 year, just doesn't seem like it's a good idea to make him a captain.
Yeah, you gotta have to. Yeah, we've seen the Flyers bring in an aging veteran and name them captain, but it's because they signed him to a ridiculous, contract by Paul Holmgren.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But yeah, if it's a short term, what? But I don't know. I see both sides of the coin there. So you name him he's your interim captain. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have a guy like Jagr. He could be any team's captain, really.
That's true. I mean, the Flyers did have an interim captain when Peter Forsberg left.
But correct me if I'm wrong. The only time that Jagr was a captain was when Lemieux retired for the Hodgkins and then came back. Jagr is a great leader. I think he could be a good captain, but much like true scoring wingers, they're never really captain. When you see it very few and far between.
Yeah, I think Ryan Johansson or Philip Forsberg's going to get that C.
Sure.
Still, though, you could see that leadership role kind of being almost like you say, that season where you get a groom from Jagr, and then you kind of step up to the play where you're like, all right, now we know who the captain's going to be. Now we know between the two of them which one's going to wear the C. Because at this point, Nashville's looking at a year like Montreal did where they have no captain. they're looking at that. So
Well, also keep in mind, you don't have to have a letter on your sweater to be a leader.
no,
Yeah,
you don't.
true.
You really honestly don't. You don't need it to be a locker room guy. Moving on. Minnesota. No.
Nope.
No.
Next.
Hell to the no. The Dallas Stars. No.
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 They are actually they owe money in the cap.
Yeah. So no, not Dallas. He's been there once. I don't think he wants to go back. Moving on.
Well, not so fast, my friend. To coin one Mr. Doug Fresh or whatever. They are just 1 year removed from winning the Central Division. I mean, the Stars have lost Patrick Eves last year, from last year's Wingers group. And let's not forget, Jagr played very well with Tyler Seguin in Boston.
He did. And Tyler Seguin is the main player in Dallas.
I mean, Jagr could work as a stopgap signing, but I wasn't familiar with the cap space. They may not have it.
They have zero cap
Oh,
space.
yeah.
It's literally zero. They have to trim almost $200,000 before the start of the training camp.
Oh, yeah, because, they signed goalie Ben Bishop to a 6-year deal. That's right, yeah.
And then they got Alexander Radulov.
Right.
So, and then they also signed Martin Hansel too.
Really, they have that bad of a cap where, they lost Eves and also Yuri Hudler and Hemsky and Patrick Sharp. I would think they would have money to spend, but I guess not.
Yeah, well, you got Jamie Benn who's sitting on a cap hit of 9.5, and then right behind him is Jason Spetz at 7.5. You're signing Radulov to 6.25. Tyler Sagan's getting 5.7. Martin Hansel's getting 4.7. That's 5 players right there that are.
That's a question I
This is
want.
a pretty heavy cap.
That's a question I wanted to ask. Did Jason Spezza, does he even deserve the money he's making?
When they got him from Ottawa, absolutely.
But now, like currently.
No.
Because honestly, I forgot Jason Spezza was even playing. All honesty, he hasn't done shit since he went to Dallas.
Oh, poor Yogs, man. Some of these tweets, I'm looking through his Twitter right now. He tweeted out, "Everywhere I look, I read all free agents getting calls from 10 to 12 teams. Me, 0 calls. On the contrary, I'm trying to call them, and no one's picking up."
Jesus.
Wow. I mean, there's
Just a
such
cold
disrespect.
shoulder.
And then this one's kind of a little bit more funny or whatever. It comes with a picture image. It's got him like in his hunk days. I don't know if you can see that. Free agent 1994, all GMs called. Free agent 2017, 0 calls.
Jesus.
I don't know how much melodrama this is, but geez. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's all melodrama. I think he's just trying to get some people's attention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's
smart.
he's trying to guilt people into signing him now.
I don't think it's guilt. I think he's playing a smart move here and making people realize, be like, wait, nobody's called him yet? Well, maybe we should consider it.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. But now we go to one of these teams that could actually afford him, but would they? And that being the Colorado Avalanche.
I'm going to say no because they cut ties with Jerome McGinley.
That's true. If they cut ties with Jerome McGinley, very good chance they're not going to go bringing in Jaromir Jagr.
Agreed.
Moving on. The Chicago Blackhawks.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, certainly could they utilize? I mean, you see a youth movement or revolving around the supporting cast of Taves and Kane, but man, one thing that they certainly missed in that series against Nashville was offense. Their offense just disappeared. A nice Jagr signing could be a nice retooling.
I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't think Chicago is going to be that team. One, because they're over the cap, just like Dallas is.
There
They
you go.
have one more contract opening, and it looks like they need to sign a defenseman. Because keep in mind, they traded away Nicholas Hjalmarsson, so they have an opening at their defensive spot.
They did. They gave away Jaromir almost for nothing, really.
Yeah, went to Arizona and didn't have much to give.
That's good.
But they're also trying to trim cap space too, so that's why they trade Hjalmarsson. But
Plus, I lost TBR.
yeah,
Yeah, to the expansion draft, and then he got traded. That is a head scratcher. I will admit that one, Rob. You're right, 100% on that one.
they're 35 over the cap.
Yeah, then that would be a
Yeah, that's a solid no with 2 capital N-O right there. I do not believe that for 1 iota of a second. All right, so we're done with the West. It's time to swing it to the East. And we're starting with a team that I actually think has a very good chance of signing him, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And think about it for 2 seconds. That would be awesome. If you went and you had Jaromir Jagr working with guys like Austin Matthews, Nylander. Christ, why hasn't Toronto picked up the phone yet? That's the real question that I really want to know. Like, it's 1 year. It's not going to kill you. Austin Matthews only just started, so it's not like you have to pay him a big salary. He's still on his entry-level deal. So you get away with it for 1 year.
No, they can't.
What do you mean?
They're $2.5 million over the cap.
Who'd they sign?
Well, they have Marleau. They signed Marleau to a 3-year deal. He's getting 6.25 hit.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they signed Patrick Marleau.
And that's the role that you were saying for Jagr. So they
I
have it
forgot
covered.
they signed. I forgot Marleau got signed to Toronto.
And then you still have they still have Nathan Horton's contract at 5.3.
Oh,
and
they
they
still have that?
They still do.
Shit.
And then they still have Joffrey Lupul at 5.25. But this is the last year in his contract. Marleau and Horton are going to end together in 2021. Who else they have? Nazem Kadri at 4.5, JVR at 4.25, Tyler Bozak at 4.2. They're getting hit pretty hard. And I haven't even gone – and I'm just giving you forwards. I'm not even giving you defensemen yet. Riley Morgan at 5, Nikita Zaitsev at 4.5. You got a lot of money hidden away. So they're going to have to trim 2.5 by the start of the season.
Jesus. Boy, Toronto was just making really shitty deals before they wound up deciding to rebuild this. Good Christ. Well,
It's a good idea, though. I like the idea. I like the idea of Jagr with all those young guys and working with Babcock, who, in my opinion, is one of the better coaches in the league.
So, Toronto's definitely out now. All right, moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I could see it possibly, but I mean, of course, I'm not looking at salary cap or any of those ramifications or what have you. But where would you play him?
Well, you're obviously not going to break up the triplet line.
No,
Right.
obviously that's your offensive bread and butter. Do you put him up with Stamkos in the top?
But then where do you put Kucherov? Kucherov is going to be your number one.
Yeah, because you do have Kucherov now.
Unless Kucherov, I mean, the website I'm looking at doesn't have Kucherov listed as anything more than a right winger. So, I mean, you could potentially move him to left,
That could have some bad ramifications if you do that.
but that's Andre Pollitt. He's going to probably be your number one left winger.
Yeah, I don't think you don't want to switch right to left. I know it doesn't seem like a significant change, but it is a significant deal. You don't do that. All right, so Tampa's
has some space, but he'd have to take a major pay cut.
and he'd have to be on the third line.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much where they would have to put him.
I agree.
That would be where Tampa's looking at it. All right, on to Ottawa. Or does he keep up his biasness against Canada and just says, fuck it?
I think this might be the most likely Canadian team. Because, I mean, I'll leave it to Brian with salary cap concerns or openings. But I think he'd be a good fit there for their style of play. And I think they were one legitimate goal scorer away from, I think, reaching the Stanley Cup Finals, in my opinion. So, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Let's take this salary cap completely out of it. They have some space. They have 4.8, but we're going to take that out. I agree wholeheartedly with Rob. They are one player away from being a Stanley Cup contender.
If they had Jaromir Jagr against the Penguins, they would have beaten the Penguins. That's how good. That's how close they were. They were this close to eclipsing Pittsburgh.
I think so, and they have a great young team. One role player away, because that's what, as much as I hate to say, that's what Jaromir Jagr is anymore. He's a role player.
Point, yeah. All right, so on to the Montreal Canadiens. No. I don't think the Canadians would be getting Jaromir Jagr, so we're going to move on from that one.
Well, let me ask you, why not?
I don't really. The Canadians have not had the best luck in getting a lot of bids out of the free agency recently. You know, I mean, sure they made the playoffs, but overall, though, it hasn't progressed them. If anything, they've regressed since they've been trying to go and play the free agency.
I think this would be a really good fit for Jaromir Jagr, to be completely honest with you. He's been linked to going to Montreal for a long time. They have plenty of cap space to do it. And they really need that depth. They don't have it. They don't have any depth. They have guys who are aging that aren't really producing anymore. Guys like Ellis Hemsky. He signed him to a 1-year deal worth $1 million. He was a $4 million player at one point. He's not there anymore.
Well, yeah, because he's degraded over time.
You don't really have a punch outside of Alex Galchenyuk, Brendan Gallagher. I mean, you can make an argument for Jonathan Drouin, but let's see how he does in Montreal first. Max Pacioretty, he plays on the left wing. They need some punch on the right side. They don't really have it. I think Montreal would be a really good fit, and I honestly think this is a team that winds up signing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make great points to support that. And I think, I don't know if I said Ottawa would be the only Canadian team. I thought it would be the most logical team, in my opinion. But this makes a lot of sense, too, for another reason that you didn't say, is that Montreal is such a legendary team in this league. Original six. I mean, let's face facts. They may be the OG team out of all of them. I think Jagr might want to play for them.
Most successful franchise of all time.
Right, exactly. Just to say, put on his illustrious career that I was a have and not a have-not. Get it?
I think this is the team he winds up going to is Montreal.
I suck at corny. No, maybe I'm pretty good at corny jokes. Because
you were really good at corny jokes.
Yeah.
Next up on the list, the Florida Panthers. No,
he's not going back.
Yeah, I don't think he's going back. Moving on.
Oh, yeah. According to this one article, he still fits there, especially when the Panthers gave the Vegas Golden Knights Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith. With Jagr and Thomas Vanek unrestricted free agents and UC Jokinen bought out, the only true wingers signed in Florida were regular NHLers last season in Huberdeau and Colton, not pronouncing that name. Who knows what the Panthers are doing, but the room's there for him. So why are you guys quickly to say no, he's not going back there?
Because their GM has already said that we're parting ways with you. You can go off and do your own thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a good reason. Sorry, guys. Moving on.
Next up, the Detroit Red Wings.
No, they're hurting the cap.
They're
Bad. They're the worst team I've seen so far.
They also need to get younger anyway. Moving on.
Well, here, let's just put it to you this way. They're $4 million over.
Wow.
Jesus, that's bad. All right, next up, the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, I mean, my opinion is going to be null and void at this point because I think Montreal's going to sign him, but Buffalo could be a team that makes sense. They got a good young team. They're a couple people away from maybe being another playoff team. They got the cap space to do it. I mean, I don't see why not.
It's a possibility. I mean, he could also play with Jack Eichel.
It's true. But, I mean, isn't that organization very, very, tight when it comes to spending money?
Yeah, that's true.
So
to
pay, I mean, not that necessarily $5 million is a lot of money for an organization to play a player, but to pay a player that's of Jagr's age, I think they would just say no, like Nancy Reagan.
I mean, like I said, they got the space to do it. It's just a matter of, you'll have to juggle a couple things around. I mean, they got some good young talent on this roster that deserves to be there. Guys like Nicholas Delorier and Sam Reinhart and Matt Molson, Evander Kane, the piece of shit that he is. They deserve to be there. They do. And if you sign Jagr, you're basically kicking one of those guys out of that spot.
Sure.
That's true. Well, we move from Buffalo to another team that he has played for in the past, the Boston Bruins.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I think they're trying to get younger, not older.
Yeah, Boston, anyway, they barely made the playoffs to begin with, and
Right.
Chara may be retiring soon, and why take the chance of that? You know, it just seems like just focus on the youth and keep yourself safe for the future.
Sounds good.
They got plenty of cap space. They got plenty of roster space. I don't see why not.
I mean, it's possible for him to return, but you know what? I think if Chara had retired, I think they will wholeheartedly would have done it. I just don't think because Chara's sticking around, I think they might just say, you know what? No. Chara's staying around. He's the captain. We're not going with anybody else who could be a leader.
I could see this one being another fit for Jagr, third line right winger for the Boston Bruins.
Which I believe he was second line, I believe, when he was out there originally.
He was. He was. They didn't have Riley Nash at that point. They didn't have David Pasternak at that point.
No, they didn't. Yeah, because they hadn't drafted them yet. He was working with Tyler Seguin, like Rob was saying. So.
Even David Backes was still in St. Louis when last time he was there.
Yeah, that's right. That was the big controversy of why St. Louis gave him up in the first place. But anyway, moving on. So with all that being said, that is the beginning of the East and the end of the West. We went through the Central Division. We went through the Atlantic Division. And when we come back, we save the best for last, the Metropolitan. And when we'll go through and see what one of these teams will most likely land Jagr. Could it be one of the teams in the Metropolitan? But anyway, that's on the other side. But first, let me talk to you all about the Soap Stash. They are the new soap standard, and you can give them a call at 844-890-3197. Treat your skin with the only soap you'll need. They have the best nutrients with the highest grade carrier oils that are ingrained in all of their products, which are all 100% natural. And you can visit them on the web at www.soapstash.com and place your order at Soapstash LLC at Facebook. So, go to Soapstash, the new soap standard, and feel clean because everybody likes to be clean, I think.
I like being dirty. You set me up there. Come on.
I know.
Come on.
I did look right at you, too, when I said it as well. Yeah, I was setting that up. All right.
That joke has been deleted. Yeah.
It's now been obsolete. All right, moving on. When we come back, the Metropolitan to finish up the Jagr talk. And if we got some time after that, a little SummerSlam talk. On the other side, here in the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to the Hockey Happy Hour, only on A2D Radio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour as the porn music plays us in.
Porn, it's church
This
music.
isn't porn. This is gospel music, my friend.
It sounds like porn music to me.
It represents Jagr praying for a contract.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. And we are brought to you by the Scanzano Sports Center located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com.
Not that I really want to get into this, but what the hell kind of porn do you watch?
Does it really matter?
No, like I said, I didn't really want to get into it. I just wanted to ask a question.
Scroll girl. Anyway.
Why does everybody pick on the main anchor?
I don't know.
You think these guys
It's
pick on the
just a day.
NFPA?
It's just a,
But you know what? Who
just a day.
cares,
That's
though?
all.
Guess what? Everybody pretty much watches porn. There should never be any shame about it, quite frankly.
Oh, no.
Anyone who has shame about it is crazy.
Most people keep it at a very low level so the neighbors don't hear. I turn it up just so my neighbors think I have a sex life.
Oh. So.
See if there's any new comments. Nope.
No?
No.
No? Okay.
I think we chase everybody away.
Good.
Yes.
That's what we were supposed to do.
With expert analysts like that,
Yeah.
analysis like that. Come on now.
All right, moving
I'm
on.
just kidding.
I know.
On to our next team to see who will be getting the one and only Jaromir Jagr. And he started off with the Washington Capitals.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, no across the board.
So no return to Washington for Jaromir Jagr.
Hold up, real quick. Why is this? Oh, whoops, wrong mouse.
Okay. Well,
Apparently, Devontae Smith-Pelly is still under a entry-level contract.
with
I didn't know that with Washington.
with Washington, really? Former
Yeah,
Duck,
it's highlighted
so-
green.
Interesting.
I thought he was out of that.
I thought so too.
It
Interesting.
might be a website error, possibly.
It's possible.
I correct them for a living sometimes, my other job. So
Nothing like coding errors. But anyway, moving on
yeah.
to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Maybe again with the same rationale with Vegas, ticket sales.
True.
They're a team that was threatened to be moved, because of lack of financial gain. So that would be the only reason I would think.
Not only that, too, team-wise, you could put him on with either Skinner or Hannafin, and Jordan Stahl. It's not exactly a bad line, so, and I'm pretty sure they got the cap space.
Oh, they got plenty of cap space.
Yeah,
they have $17 million available.
I mean, that's not a bad option for Carolina. If you want to increase your ticket sales, your fanfare, get a legendary player like Jagr. Put him on your top line with a Jordan Stahl or a Noah Hannafin. You probably wouldn't regret that. I wouldn't.
Right.
Personally.
Well, just real quick, Noah Hannafin's a defenseman.
Why do I get that wrong? Oh,
Because he's one of the more named players, and you would usually think of well-known players forward.
My bad on that one. I don't know why I was thinking that. Maybe I was. I don't know why I was doing that. Anyway,
I caught that
on.
the first time, but I try not to correct people or make them look bad.
I'm not trying to make him look bad.
I know.
No,
You know
no.
that.
I'm having an off day.
Me and Brian are gonna
You and
fight
me
it.
both.
No, I'm having an off day anyway. If the intro didn't show you earlier enough today, folks, if you were watching live either on Facebook or on YouTube, either way, not exactly my best day. Moving on.
Rookie jitters. I'm gonna have to put a hockey sweater on, man, because he's gonna pull it over my head. I'm telling you.
No, we're good.
And you know what, folks? I love Brian Daly to death. Not just because we do a show, because he's an absolute great guy. Great catch for you ladies out there, by the way.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna start with
I
that.
already started the wingman already.
Hey.
Right? But
Online
I
dating.
I enjoy busting his balls because we have the same humor, the same disposition. I love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
All right. On to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, before someone says hell no, actually, this would be a very good idea for the Columbus Blue Jackets to go and consider getting Jaromir Jagr. Losing a lot of the offensive attack that they lost during this offseason, 100% you should consider Jaromir Jagr. The fact that you did not return a phone call, it just says so much about how shitty your organization is being run.
Surely.
Now, cap space-wise, Brian, what are we looking at here?
12 mil.
12 mil? So
Almost 13.
they got plenty of room. I mean, he wasn't coached by John Tortorella in New York, but they did work for the same team at one point. And not only that, too. Oh, no, because Hartnell's not on the team anymore. So, damn, I was about to connect that with him being a former Flyer.
Right.
But, oh, well.
He's back in Nashville.
He's back in Nashville.
This was another plausible team. I didn't say it before with Montreal, but I thought Columbus Blue Jackets. I also thought one more team that we haven't gotten to yet in the Metro Division. But could they use the scoring? Absolutely, hell yes.
Now, that was originally going to be the team that I thought was going to land him, and then I was betrayed by the salary cap, and that ruined my number one choice. So, back to my number one choice is the Columbus Blue Jackets, only because it just seems logical for them.
Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to burst your bubble, dude.
No, it's all right. It wouldn't be the first time, so you know what? I'm used to it. Anyway, but still, it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to wind up back in Columbus, and it'd be a great move for the Blue Jackets because they need it. They absolutely need it.
I don't disagree. They definitely need some kind of offensive punch. They have Cam Atkinson, who's coming off a really good year. Boone Jenner, another one who's coming off a good year. They just acquired Artemi Panarin from Chicago.
Not a bad
It
idea.
wouldn't be a bad move for Columbus to even just throw this idea around.
Yeah.
And they got the room to pay him the full price. So it's only 1 year.
And Panarin could learn so much from Jagr, man. Talk about maturation and development. Oh,
Absolutely. Hell, if they keep the cap space at the right spot, they may be able to afford him for 2 years.
right.
And if you can keep him around for 2 and put him around Panarin, Jenner, and the rest of them, that may actually work out very beneficial for your team going down the line.
Yeah.
Moving forward, the New Jersey Devils. Don't really see him making a return to New Jersey.
No, and the Devils have the most cap space available that I've seen so far at $18 million.
I mean, I know it's a familiar location, but I don't know. You think he would want to go back to the Devils?
I mean, here's the reason why he left in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
true.
it's the Devils? No.
It's true.
No, but in all seriousness, though, their youth is their formula. That's why they are so low on the salary cap. And, you draft a player in Hischier, that's who they want to highlight. They want to highlight guys like him, Taylor Hall, what's his name? Henrique. You know,
Adam Henrique.
Yeah, these are the guys that and I mean, again, could he be a good mentor for some of these guys and for a new guy to the league and he's here? Sure, but I just don't see it happening. I agree.
I mean, it's a good roster. You Taylor Hall, Travis Zajac, who's on IR.
Did they get another former Oiler too in Eberle? I thought
No,
heard that.
Eberle got traded, but he got traded to the Islanders.
Oh, Islanders. That's where he went to. Gotcha. Cool.
Conveniently enough, that's where our next stop is. Over to the New York Islanders. Does he go to the Isle?
No.
No.
He's not trying to make the tour of the old Patrick division.
Because that
You would think that would be a stop.
That would complete it too. Actually,
Yeah,
strangely
yeah.
enough, it would.
No, they don't. I mean, they don't really have the cap space. They're not even necessarily sure they're going to be able to re-sign Jonathan Tavares at the end of the year.
Oh yeah. you
And
can't
if they lose,
compromise
oh my
that.
God, if the Islanders lose Jonathan Tavares, that's it. That club's flatlining.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, though. I see him staying in New York.
You lose Tavares. If you don't sign Tavares, no, you could say goodbye to New York. There's your new Seattle Metropolitans team.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
New York Islanders are gone.
They're gone because they're already on, like you said, life support. I mean, I'm not trying to shoot a hole in your argument there, but Tavares is that's the face of the franchise.
Agreed. And, I mean, you have Andrew Ladd signed through 23, 24. But it's like you said, that's the franchise player right there is Jonathan Tavares.
It is.
Yep.
When you think New York Islanders, you think John Tavares. I mean, and honestly, though, if they did wind up losing him and that team got sold, that'd be the only team that has won 4 straight Stanley Cups to ever be sold. I mean, you could say the original Ottawa Senators, but they just went out of business. So there's a difference.
Sure.
But moving on. The New York Rangers. Now, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's possible that he could make a return to the Big Apple and could make a swan song in Madison Square Garden. It is a possibility. He has played on the team. He played on the team for a long time. He was on the Rangers for a good, I think 5 years. He was on the Rangers, so he was on the Rangers for a while.
Yep.
I mean, he'd have to take the pay cut. He'd have to and it's very unlikely that he's going to take a pay cut under $3 million. But that's where they are with the cap. It's another situation where this team is, they're right on that cusp of being a cup contender,
Yes.
and they need to add a player.
Yes.
But I do think that player is going to be Shane Doan because he's going to be a little bit more affordable for them in their cap.
True. But, I mean, in terms of Jagr's aspirations for a cup, which I am inferring that he does have, this would be a great landing spot for him. Familiarity. He could, despite them trying to get younger, like I said earlier, overall, that's more of a blue line shift. Now, did signing Kevin Shattenkirk take them out of being able to afford him? I think
More than likely,
absolutely. But I have to read this off for the people because I told you guys offline, right? Jagr holds the Rangers' single-season records for goals, 54, points, 123, set in 2005-06 when he was a grizzled 34-year-old vet. Let that sink in for a moment, people, that he's still playing. And they're talking, this was 12 years ago. Unbelievable. He's a freak of nature. I got to go party with him. But it's plausible, but probably not going to happen. I could agree with you, Brian. There.
Yeah, they're gonna look for somebody a little bit more affordable if they decide to go down that route, and I think that's gonna wind up being Shane Doan.
Very, very true. And
A lot of support.
Twitter poll results are in, and it's a solid no for him saying that he will retire.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that overwhelming. 89% saying no. People love Jags, man. He's the bridge to the old NHL to the new NHL. It's like that would be like telling Gandalf you got to retire. You're done being a wizard in your wizardly ways.
You're not allowed to be a wizard anymore. Retire.
You are
Give me the stick.
a wizard.
You also have to shave that beard too.
Yeah, turn in your beard, your hat, and your stick at the front desk and leave.
And leave. You can go be Dumbledore at Hogwarts. Anyway.
Jagr the White.
Jagr the White.
Well, right now he's Jagr the Gray.
Yeah.
He'll be Jagr the White, though, if he keeps playing soon enough. All right.
Truth.
On to the final two teams as processed by elimination. We saved these two on purpose for the last.
Yep.
And let's get started with our team, the Flyers. Now, there has been debate. The Flyers there's a case that's possible out there for why Jagr should be on this team. And there are good reasons why he should be on this team. First time he was on the team, the 1 year he was, Giroux had a pretty damn good year. Hartnell had a career year. Imagine putting him on line with a guy like, say, you wouldn't be able to put him on the same line. Well, you could put Giroux at center, and then you put Jagr at the wing, and you put Voracek on left. And there you go. There's your top line right there. Jagr could be the guy who can make Jake Voracek look like a 30-plus goal scorer again. Mm. And Giroux could be scoring, into the 40s if Jagr has his way.
I just don't see the spot there for him, though, with the young talent coming up. I would rather have Travis Konechny there than Jagr.
True.
Quick timeout.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. You're putting 3 pass-first players on your top line. You got to spread that out. And that's where I think a lot of the problem is coming from in the lack of production with Claude Giroux and Jake Voracek. 2 pass-first players playing on the same line.
Right.
Now,
good point.
Here's where I think if the Flyers were to sign a guy like Jaromir Jagr would benefit greatly. Put him on a line with Jordan Wheel or put him on a line with Travis Konechny.
Oh.
Okay.
That'd be nice. That'd be really nice, actually, to see him working with the youth.
You want him working with the youth, maturating these players by somebody who is one of the best ever. How beneficial would that be?
Would be beneficial. I don't know, though. I mean, like, looking at the Flyers roster in my head, I'm not saying it's the greatest roster in the NHL. By far, it's not yet. But I would see Jagr, the only role on this team would be, or a spot open for this team would be on the 4th line. And I don't know if you could ever put Jagr on a 4th line. I think that's sacrilege. I don't see the room on the roster. I do see the role now. I didn't see the role. Now I see the role. So thank you for that. And I want it to happen because I love that, when Jagr was a Flyer, it was very surreal, very awesome. But again, I know I'm going to the well, and I apologize, but he wants to go to a Stanley Cup contender, and not to burst everybody's bubble, but that's not the Flyers right now.
No, it's not. But if his role is just trying to play and he wants to teach, maybe coach a little bit, I think the Flyers could be a good fit. I mean, they got the cap space, believe it or not. They would put him just slightly over the cap, but not by much.
How much room they have?
They have 5.1.
5.1. So if they offered him like a 1 year 4.8, I think at this time he might take it, and then you could slide under.
Well, now here's my question. You say he could only be he would only fit in as a 4th liner.
Right.
Who do you see on the 3rd line as right wing?
Michael Raffle.
You wouldn't put him on the left? Maybe have him work a little bit with Jagr?
Maybe do.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, nothing can hurt Michael Raffle at this point. He was on top line for the longest time. So,
I mean, he's a solid role player, and I like Michael Raffle. I like to see what he does with Jagr. I'd be more excited to see Konechny or Wheel with Jagr.
Yeah, because that would be really exciting to see that. Because he could speed with them, too.
Oh, you're right.
So
That's right. Raffle is left winger. My apologies.
No, he plays both.
Oh, he does play both?
He plays both.
Oh.
Yeah, they were always interchanging. But
hey now, City of Brotherly Love. Yeah.
You know it.
But, it would be interesting to see how he would work in with the youth. I mean, that's a possibility right there. With that, if he was going to play on the Flyers, he'd have to be on 3rd. Because I don't know if you could find a place to put him on 2nd. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And 3rd's okay. I mean, you're not looking for him to be your number 1 goal scorer. You're not looking for him to be he's not going to take Wayne Simmons' spot.
No. I don't think he is. I don't think anybody is.
3rd line role player to help maturate some of these players, teach them the game. It'd be a good role, and I think this would be a good roster for him to teach.
Yeah, Yags, Couturier, and Wheel.
And not only that too, but think about power play depth, special teams depth, because we lost that with Braden Shen.
Right.
You can add on to that with Jagr, and you man up, and Jagr's your other guy. That's a pretty intimidating situation right there, because Jagr could score anytime he wants to.
He's one of the best power play guys in the league, especially when he was younger. You got a new power play coach. I can see that working out.
Yep.
So
Will it? Probably not, because I still think he's going to go to Montreal. But if we're talking just the Flyers are the only option right now, I think that it could work.
Yeah, but the realistic, though, side of it, it probably won't happen, sadly. As much as it would be awesome to see Jagr back in a Flyers jersey for another year.
I can unpack my Jagr jersey.
Yeah, but sadly, though, I don't think it will. Hexy's been really emphasizing youth, and I don't think he wants to go any closer to the cap than he is right now.
Right.
Because I think he just wants to keep some breathing room just in case worst comes to worst, we have to get a plug player.
Right.
If worst comes – and Jagr's not a plug player, so that's the thing. So that's the major issue you run into.
And you want to continue shrinking it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't see that happening anytime soon with that. But with the Flyers moved on, we now go to the one, the only, the team that brought him into the league, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the defending Stanley Cup champions.
At mucho respect, I would have spent money that you would have saved the Flyers for last, but paying a testament to him being a long-time Penguin, that was very apropos, Matty. Good job.
True. I mean, and when you think of Jagr, you're going to think of him as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
Right.
You know, everybody's going to remember him as a Penguin.
And to have my answer short and sweet, the only way he gets signed there is to retire there. Like almost like not like a 1 year, but like a 1 day.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way that's going to happen, too. And I kind of see why the Penguins haven't done much in free agency this offseason. They don't have much cap space. You only have 3.2 remaining until the start of the season. So, with that being said, they have some good young talent that they're going to rock with, and I think they should. I mean, you have guys like Carl Hagelin is still relatively young. Connor Sheary's up and coming. Jake Kunitz, I don't know why I can't pronounce his name anymore. Jake Gensel, he's another one that's young and up and coming. I think Pittsburgh should just rock with what they got.
Yeah.
Maybe do what they did, what you just said, and sign him to a 1 year, 1 day contract just to retire as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
So, that would do it for that. So, I guess out of most likely, since my first got destroyed, Columbus would be my spot. Rob, what's your final spot?
I'm with Brian with Montreal, but something still tells me Nashville Predators.
Okay, so Nashville / Montreal, and Brian, you are full force.
Full force Montreal. It's the only team to me that makes complete sense.
All right, then. So that is where we think the one and only Aegis one is heading to. And that'll do that. So we have 1 minute left in time. So let's do this real fast. SummerSlam. What's the grade you're going to give it?
I knew you were going to ask for a grade, and I already have it prepared. B+.
B+. All right. Brian?
It's B-.
Oh, better than I thought.
Me? Compared to this entire year, I'm going to say A-. Maybe that's being a little too favorable, but really.
It was a great pay-per-view, man.
Most of the pay-per-views that I've seen from Raw and SmackDown alone have been pretty forgettable.
Seeing Braun Strowman put Brock Lesnar not through 1, not through 2, but then have a third table land on, a commentary table land on top of him, that was it right there.
Yeah,
I was like, what the what's going on?
Because let's be honest, the non-Big Four pay-per-view, the only one that stuck out so far was Great Balls of Fire.
Right.
In all honesty, none of the other ones really stuck out. Right. So yeah, I'd have to give it an A- compared to that. That's including WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble this year. So, but that's my opinion, and we've all got ours. They're like assholes. Everyone's got one. Moving on. That'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We hope everybody had fun, had a good time. It is time, though, for Last Call. And from all of us here at A2DRadio.com, I'm Matt Tsutsui. This is Rob, the Broken Povia, and Brian, the Darkwing Daily. And we will all see you next week on A2D Radio.com.